How long does it actually take to learn Spanish? Like, to get to the point that you can have fluent conversations on all kinds of topics? To answer that question, we have to clear something up about what language learning is. Real language learning is not just a matter of learning words. When you're learning new labels for things, you're not really learning a language. Here's an example. In American English, we use the word elevator, where in British English they say lift. If you go traveling from the US to the UK, you can learn that in 1 second. That's not learning a new language, it's just learning an alternative label for something. And if that's all you're doing in Spanish, you're not really learning the language. So for example, you can learn the word ascensor, and then you can point and say, look, there's an ascensor. But then you're just swapping out words. That's not real language learning. If your goal is fluency, what you're trying to do is to be able to put words together in complex ways to express your own thoughts. Then you can say things like this: I want you to take the elevator, I don't think the elevator is working, or maybe, if there were an elevator, we would take it. This requires you to learn new sentence structures, and it means using verb conjugations, pronouns, subjunctives, all in ways that are totally different between any two languages. So if you've been learning lots of Spanish words for things, but you don't feel like you're a lot closer to expressing your thoughts in Spanish, this might be why. You're learning labels instead of syntax. And deeper learning of syntax does take more time because it's not just memorization. This requires building skills on a deep level. So with that in mind, how long does it take to learn Spanish in a real fluent way? The short answer is that any given Spanish skill takes about 2 months to master. We're talking about understanding a piece of the language so well that it's second nature and you can use it on the fly in conversations. For example, let's say that you're practicing this sentence structure. I want you to be here. Quiero que estés aquí. It might only take you a day or two to dissect this and figure out why the sentence is structured this way in Spanish. But that doesn't mean you've mastered it yet. Sure, maybe you can get this right on a test or you're getting it right in your flashcards, but if we're talking about fluency, you want to be able to use these structures automatically in any situation. And according to our experience working with thousands of coaching students over the last 10 years, it takes about 2 months of consolidation for things like this to flow naturally. And you can't rush it because consolidation is kind of like cement drying. When you pour cement, you don't expect it to hold right away. Same thing with a complex skill in Spanish. You can't expect it to be perfect right from the start. Consolidation requires gradual practice that's spread out over time. And it requires good sleep in between practice sessions. So if you do this really effectively, you can master a new Spanish skill in about 2 months. Okay, but multiply that by all the deep skills in Spanish that you need to master. Things like ser versus estar, object pronouns like lo versus la versus le, not to mention the hundreds of irregular verb conjugations that native Spanish speakers use every day. So wait a second, this is sounding like it's gonna take decades to learn Spanish. If it takes you 2 months to learn one skill, and you have to learn hundreds of skills, when will you ever master it all? But the good news is that you can actually overlap your learning. So you'll start with one complex skill, maybe ser versus estar, and then while you're still working on that, you can start working on another one, like tener versus haber. While you're working on the new one, you'll keep going back to ser versus estar, reviewing it, practicing it, and consolidating. And then you'll continue on with object pronouns, subjunctives, and so on. So you'll layer more and more skills while consolidating the skills you've previously learned. This is how you build fluency efficiently, but with a solid foundation. Ideally, you should start with some of the most challenging but important parts of Spanish so they have the most time to consolidate. If you do that and you keep layering the skills, your work will get easier and easier. And this brings us to the answer. If you layer your skills like this, starting with the most important ones, and you practice everything and consolidate it all efficiently, you can learn to express yourself confidently on most topics in Spanish in about 6 to 12 months. If you want to see the kinds of results you can expect, go ahead and check out some videos of our students being interviewed after 6 to 12 months of working really diligently on Spanish. We show our students off at learncraftspanish.com/testimonials. As you'll see, they're not just memorizing phrases, they're actually fluently expressing themselves in Spanish, telling stories, using linguistic nuance, and connecting more deeply with their Spanish-speaking loved ones in their own native language. So take this as some encouragement. Yes, Spanish fluency does take time, but with hard, diligent work, you can get there in less than a year. The good news is that you don't have to make up your own plan. We've already built the entire roadmap for you. Our free course at SpanishVideoCourse.com lays everything out. It starts with the most important grammar, and it has you practicing all the essential Spanish syntax to mastery. We use 250 step-by-step lessons to go through all the tricky stuff at the heart of the Spanish language. Ser versus estar, por versus para, tener, haber, subjunctives, and we focus on the top 1,000 words that make up the vast majority of everyday Spanish. The course includes hundreds of free daily practice tools like grammar-focused quizzes and flashcards to help you consolidate everything. If you follow this plan to the end, you can reach full fluency in under a year. Just head to SpanishVideoCourse.com to sign up. The link's also in the description, and it's all 100% free. And then subscribe to this channel for more study hacks that'll get you speaking Spanish fluently faster than ever.